everyone. Today we're going to be walking through the dependency status section of the FAFSA. So as you can see at the very top, it says student marital status. So all of these questions that are going to be asked are in regards to you as the student, not your parent, not your guardian, but you as the student. So this question that says, what is your marital status as of today? Unless you as the student are married, you're going to say that you are single. And then click next. So first, I'm going to go through this section for dependent students. So these are students who depend on a parent or guardian for their support. Support meaning housing, food, healthcare, those sorts of living expenses. So the first question is asking if you have children who will receive more than half of their support from you. So in the case of a dependent student, the answer would be no. And then the next question is asking if you have other people who depend on you for their support, 50% or more. We're going to say no. And then the next series of questions are further confirming whether you are dependent or not. A student who's dependent, we're going to click none of the above. And then it's going to ask if on or after July 1st, were you homeless or were you self-supporting or at risk of being homeless? Homeless is defined very broadly. So homeless could mean living in a shelter. Homeless could mean staying in someone else's house in a temporary living situation, staying from one house to another house from day to day. It can mean a lot of different things. So for a student who's dependent, we're going to click no. And if all of those questions were no for you, then they tell you here that you are considered a dependent student, meaning they want you to provide information about your parents. If you are a dependent student, you will go through the parent demographics and parent financials. If you would like support on going through that process, check out our next videos. So we're going to jump back just to show what this will look like if you answer yes to any of these questions. So the first one is if you yourself have children who receive 50% or more of their support meaning housing, food. And then this one is if you have other people other than children who are dependent on you. So if that's the case for you, you would check yes to either of those boxes that apply to you. And then these questions, the first two questions are related to military service. One is if you're actively serving in the U.S. Armed Forces, if you were in foster care, or you were a dependent or a ward of the court. Even if you were in foster care and placed with another family member, you would be able to check that box. If, since you turned 13, both of your parents have passed away, if you were an emancipated minor, or someone other than your parent, step-parent, have legal guardianship of you as determined by a court. That piece right there, as determined by a court, is the important piece in that question. Even if you live with somebody other than parent or step-parent, unless it was determined by a court, you're not going to check that box. So if any of these apply to you, then you will check these boxes. When you click any of those boxes, the household size is 1, just you. Number in college, how many people will be in college in the next year? It would be 1, just you. So this question is asking if on or after July 1st, you were homeless or were you self-supporting and at risk of being homeless? Homeless is defined very broadly. Homeless could mean living in a shelter. Homeless could mean staying in someone else's house in a temporary living situation, staying from one house to another house from day to day. It can mean a lot of different things. So if you think that that might be the case for you, then you will click yes. Just to show you what the next series of questions will ask you. So they want to see how are you determining that designation of homeless or at risk of being homeless. And they want you to check one of these. So the first one is that your high school or school district homeless liaison has designated you as what's considered McKinney-Vento. The colleges that you apply to will ask for this letter from your school district designating you as qualifying for McKinney-Vento. If you clicked yes for that previous question and don't have a McKinney-Vento status, reach out to your school counselor because having that letter, that designation as McKinney-Vento will open up opportunities for resources to support you. So it will make the whole process a lot easier. So if you clicked yes for that previous question and don't have this first box, definitely reach out to your school counselor. The other options are if director of an emergency shelter or transitional housing program could vouch, or a runaway or homeless youth basic center. If none of the above, then you would click none of the above. But like I said, if you clicked yes to the previous question, we would hope that you could get this first checkbox. And then you get to this point. So if you answered yes to any of those questions, you are considered an independent student. This means that you're not required to provide information about your parents. You can just click next and it will jump right past the parent demographics and parent financials and go straight to the student financials. Check out our next videos. We've got videos for each section to help you go step by step through this process. Thanks for watching.